Hello everybody. Today we are doing not a pull list, but a haul around the world. I'm very excited to be with you, and you do not need to adjust your streaming screens. It is I, Krisis, with a K, coming to you live from a sunny day in New Zealand, and I feel terrible. I have been not feeling so well the past couple days, and I had to cancel a lot of stuff earlier in the day today because my body just would not get started. And so now that my body got started, I was like, well, it would be nice to do something positive. And unpack some stuff, right? What better way to brighten up a day that was feeling a little bit crap than to do some retail therapy? So I see some folks have caught on that I'm doing a quite random stream today. So I'm just going to say hi to a few folks, and then we're going to get right in. Jack is finally first. Congratulations to Jack, and nice to have you with me if you're still here. Logan Wayne saying, haul time. Finally, I will be seated. These were coming in, I think, oh no, not even last night, earlier this morning, because I just made it this morning. Cedric and Ellen won't be here tonight because they're in Europe. This time I know is not as Europe friendly, but I can only do that really early time on the Sunday onto Monday just because it works out that day. Other days I'm a little bit closer to 6 p.m. Eastern. Hank saying hello. Super Jop, who might be having a crisis right now and might not be able to stay super late. Mall 360, ooh, I don't feel well. Mall 3, that's nothing to do with you, Mall 360. I just picked up a bunch of new books today, which is awesome. Omnibus is here for a haul video. My good friend who I was talking to last night, who has such a fun channel, Aussieverse. Y'all, I always tell you, if you want to be hearing things 12 hours from now, whatever time that is for you. For a lot of you in the US, that would be like early morning commute. For a lot of you in Europe, it'd be like morning. That's when Omnibus usually streams, so that's a good channel. If you feel like, oh, these damn Americans are never on at the right time, then you should be subscribed to Aussieverse. Stoops is saying good times, catching some of the beginning. James Abel is here. Yana Pauls is here. Everybody comfortable showing their packages. Ryan Bragg, hello to you. Hi to Patrick Borgeld, another live stream, and there's going to be another one tomorrow, guaranteed. Absolutely, it is happening unless I am sick on the bathroom floor. Samantha Jane is here. Hello. Hello to Javier Hernandez. Jane, wow, a whole different crowd. I forget when I do it this week, the midweek. There's a whole different crowd. Jamie C47, their new Ileana profile picture. Elon Reese, who I was just talking to late last night. I refer to this as my Pepto-Bismol shirt, so I'm trying to medicate even through my sartorial choices today. Taylor Made is here so with the surprise stream. Chris Brogan, and this may be a first. Warren Weaver ever been on one of my streams? Warren is often treated as though he's all hot takes, but I think Warren has very consistent taste like me, and he just has certain popular things that do not make any sense to him whatsoever. Oh my gosh, so many people saying hello. It's so kind of you. Neil Pereira. This is really what I needed, was just a chance to say hi to some people and not feel quite as crappy as I felt a few hours ago. I'm not even putting my glasses on because I don't want the makeup reveal. I'll do the makeup reveal after. I only had about 30 minutes, and this is not my normal makeup that I do, and some of it is because it's new makeup, but I'm afraid to show it now as part of my haul because I don't get it blacklisted. So let's just get into hauling, right? So have all my boxes already unpacked. I took some of the plastic off just so we don't have to play the ASMR game with plastic. But I've got a DCBS order. I've got my super secret order from the United States that I've been talking about, that I've been waiting for it to clear customs. And I have my all-time white whale that I've been trying to acquire for 9 years. I finally got it, and you will never guess what it is. And then I also have some random things that are not comic books that also came in the mail that I just think are funny. So let's get started with something I'm very excited about, which is Complete Witchblade Volume 4. This, of course, are always kickstarted first by Top Cow Comics, but then they do hit the direct market, and I cannot afford to kickstart them because the shipping of just one of these books is like as much as a whole omnibus, so I just have to wait for them to hit the direct market. These retail for $49.99 US at the moment. I think that is a steal. This is really well built. As a pretty large amount of comics in it. It's got Witchblade 58 to 85, so that's like 25 issues of Witchblade. And I opened it up just to stretch it earlier. And this is, when I think about Witchblade, even though I wasn't reading in this era, when I like learned about Witchblade and look back to it, I'm trying to find a good page of colors. This is the Witchblade I think of. We're like into the, I guess the 2000s now, does it say? Oh gosh, I am gonna have to put my glasses on eventually, huh? Yeah, it doesn't say. But This is just really sharp looking digital colors. The pages are really, really high gloss. And I'm just excited. I've only ever read like the first 20 issues of Witchblade, but it's one of those top cal characters that I'm really, really into. The spine, of course, is in black and white, as are all of them, which I've got set back on this shelf right here. So we still need several more, but it's exciting to get to a volume 4 at this point. And I'm just really excited. It's one of those things that I still have never read past the first 20 issues, and I'm probably going to binge once I have it all together. I actually have a video I want to do that I've been thinking about, that what if I did my countdown of my top, however many, 50, 100, 1,000 comic book runs I really want to binge, because that would include pretty much all of my Epic collections. It would include like Wildstorm. It pretty much have everything, because there's so much stuff that I've been like waiting to ever get to do. So would that be a fun video once I'm all caught up, right? Which should probably take another 4 weeks. Would that be a fun one to do? So let me just keep an eye. How good is Witchblade? Top tier? No, I would not say that. The beginning of it is really not super readable unless you love 90s comic books. And then it gets okay. I think as it goes on, they kind of find the footing, and it separates itself from being one of those kind of just general, like, babe with books, to having a little bit more of a distinct personality and being a little bit more about like who she is and why she's got the Witchblade and what she's going to achieve with the Witchblade. But again, I don't know it really well past the first 20 issues, but what I know of its reputation is that I know people like it better a little bit later on. Okay, so that was the first thing. So the second thing I've got is one of many DC Finest that are here, but this one I've been showing off on streams already, so everybody's seen this. I think if you just came out of the Superman movie and you're excited for like a big hunk of classic Superman, like if you like Bronze Age comics, if you like 1970s comics, this is the one. This has never been collected in such a big hunk of this before. It was Jess Bragg's pick on the Superman Evergreen show. It's Superman Kryptonite Nevermore, and it is a DC Finest that collects basically from the very start of the Bronze Age. DC generally treats Superman 233 as the first issue of the Bronze Age, as it does Action Comics 393. And actually this cover here, which was Superman, actually had a big #1 on it. So that's not just the thing that Marvel and DC do today. That was a thing in the 1970s. They put a big giant #1 and said best-selling comic. It wasn't a new #1 issue. It's actually said #1 best-selling comics magazine. But then at the top it said the amazing new adventures. So look how buried the actual number is. It's all the way there on the margin, 233, and that's how the cover originally appeared. So even in the 70s, DC was trying to let people know that there was a new onboarding point, and Jess always makes the point that this is really where Superman kind of like starts having some interesting, consistent continuity and character. Of course, that happened at the beginning of the Silver Age, and that's what defined the Silver Age for him. But there's just so much amazing art in this. Here's Superman versus some devils. Really, really cool. And here, let's see what else we can find that looks really, really cool. Superman saving a little kid from a crowd. You know, restoration is really, really good. They don't look, I mean, they're pretty pumped. I'm sure if we saw them on original newsprint, they would be knocked back a little bit from this. But for a cheap book, I mean, this only retails for $39.99, and it's like almost 600 pages. This is a steal, because you're going to be able to get this online for like $30. Highly, highly recommended. I've read a little bit of it just because I've had it laying around like kind of on the top of the pile, and I'm now much more hyped for Bronze Age Superman. Plus, anytime that Jess says something is great, I'm like, okay, well. Ooh, did I get briefly disconnected? Is it looking wacky? It says my internet is really, really low, but I'm like plugged into the internet. One of these days, let's have everything in my life go wrong all at once. What if I get back on Wi-Fi? Maybe it'll be better than the wired internet. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, well, I'm going to keep going. So here's something interesting. I had this already, The Amazing Spider-Man Venom, but I remembered that it was kind of like a crappy printing. And so I was like, oh, I saw a new one, and I couldn't even remember why I didn't like the other one, but I was like, Kid Krisis would get it if I gave it to her. So I got another one. So now I have two, and you've seen me do this on an old haul around the world, but I don't know which one is which, although there is one aspect of them that is visually distinguishable. So I thought I would kind of just trade them around and see. So here's one of them. The first thing I do on a paperback is I kind of just feel the spine a little bit like this. If it's like a really loose spine or like a cheaper book, you'll feel the spine almost has like side to side give. Like it'll almost feel like it wobbles that way. This one's not bad. Without looking at the paper quality is pretty thin. It's like I wouldn't call it a gloss, but it's not a matte with a lot of tooth. The blacks here on this first page look pretty black. But now let's find a page with a lot of white. Yeah, I can see show through just through the page there, as I'm sure you could too. That's not the end of the world, but that's one of the things I check just in terms of paper quality. If you're putting two books head to head and you're trying to check like the creaminess or the thickness of the paper, a good way to do it is to find two pages that are the same and kind of look at the show. So I don't know which one this is, but I would say this has a lot of show. This is page 147, so we're going to set that one aside. So then here is the other one, and I don't know which one is new or not because I did not check carefully. This spine is more solid. It's just a little bit more square. Now, one of these has been on my shelf since 2019, but this is just a more solid feeling build. So maybe this is just the newer one because it hasn't been on my shelf. The paper feels the same, but I feel like it actually feels slightly less matte than the other one. This is a better black. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on screen. And again, the other one maybe is the older book, but this black, the paper, it could be the ink, it could be the paper, but that black is just so thick and dark. If we look at this black, it's almost like there's a little bit of gray in it. Like I don't know if you're going to you can't really see it on the screen, on the stream, but this black just, you can see a little bit of paper through that, you know that it's on paper. It's not purely inky. And then what was the page we looked at? 137? Oh, well, first of all, the pages are slightly different in this one. There must be like an extra page at the front. Didn't I say 137? Here's Peter Parker in his underwear. Very, very, we know I love when Peter Parker is made into a sex object. Well, I can't find that same page, so we're just going to have to find another page. Didn't I say 137? I'm telling you, I'm not on my A game. I was on a call earlier for work, and I was just rambling like a crazy person. And they're like, hey, Krisis, are you okay over there? I'm like, I'm not feeling so great. So what did I decide to do on that day that I'm not feeling so great? Get on the internet and make a permanent document of my behavior. That's what I did. All right, we'll just go with this one. So I still see some show, but it just looks, the paper just seems like it's a little creamier. And so, like, yeah, of course, at the bottom of the page, I can see some show, but it just, like, the actual whites on the panel, I'm not really distracted. I think this must be the newer one. And I can tell now that I'm looking at the front cover because something I remember about my old ones, the cover was cut wrong. So if you look at the top here, which is why I was careful not to really look at it, it's just cut almost to cut the letters off of Epic Collection. And the cover is actually a little short. It doesn't quite close over the paper. And then on the side, you can see that it's wrapped a little bit wrong. And you can see a little bit of the back cover pulling around. So, clearly, this other one is the new one. And this new one is printed at, oh dear, Flisco. So, now I have a replacement. I'm sure Kid Krisis would love to read the old one. I just kind of like to do the side-by-side, and I know there's a couple ones kicking around that were lower paper grades. So let me just check in what's going on. Spider Titties, yeah, well, I mean, it was the Spider Full Monty, really, almost. Is DC losing money on their Finest their price? Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind. There's no way. I mean, the Epic Collections are maybe a little bit nicer, but they're also a little bit slimmer. Epic Collections usually top out at like 5 or 520 pages, and they're retailing for 50 right now. So the DC Finest are $10 cheaper, and they're about 100 pages more. I would say the paper is pretty comparable. Now, they don't have printed inside end boards. That might be shaving off a couple of cents off of every one. They don't really have as many, and they don't have any end pages in general, which kind of bugs me. I think there should be one page at the end to protect the final page of the comic from rubbing up against the end board, but it's not like in a hardcover book where they're paying for like an interior paper wrap. So, I mean, in terms of build quality, It's really not that different, and other than the fact that they're not printing on the inside cover and it's like 100 or 200 pages longer. So it should be a comparable price. Now, of course, their market is different and DC has different printers and DC does different book market printing, but I have to think that it's a loss leader. I really, really have to. I have to. And Hank actually upgraded that very epic. Johnny is here a little bit late. That's okay. We're just rambling. What's my epic finest shelf ordering? I do include the adjectives at the moment for Spider-Man, not and for Hulk. But if they put out Spectacular Spider-Man and Web of Spider-Man, then all the Spider-Mans would move to the S's. I think those are the only two that have adjectives: Amazing Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk. Yeah, so Amazing I keep at the beginning of the alphabet for now, but if they did another Spider-Man Epic Collection line, I would move it. Okay, here's something fun and different that many of you don't care about, but I just thought it would be fun to do. Okay, so I got a box from Trixie Cosmetics, which is a lot of what I wear, and I didn't get it for this reason, but they did a Teletubbies collaboration. So if a lot of you don't do makeup, you wouldn't know this, but a lot of the toyetic stuff of our youth is becoming makeup collections. So there's everything. There's My Little Pony, there's SpongeBob, there's Care Bears, there's of course 1,000 Barbie things, but like every vintage kind of girly pinky toy, and even little kid stuff like Sesame Street stuff, Teletubbies, they all have makeup collections now. So I didn't get a whole lot of Teletubbies makeup because that's not really my brand, but they did do, they did do a lip gloss that I guess is based on the Teletubbies called Tubby Custard. I'm too young to know about Teletubbies, but it's this like pinkety pink lip gloss. It's like, it's pinker than my shirt. It's really, really pink. So I'm excited to try that. I won't put it on my, why not? Nothing like, oh boy, mixing liquid makeup and brand new books. That's not a recipe for a disaster. All right, let's see. Oh, it smells so good. Ooh, okay. It smells so good. All of Trixie's stuff always smells like candy, which definitely makes you want to put it near your mouth. But the other thing is, I got this. You've never seen me without this. Total Betty. This is a brand new one, but mine is like rubbed down to the bare pan at the bottom. So I got a reload on that. That's like the color that I'm always in here. This whole year I've worn that every time. Then I got a new one called Show Pony, which I did up here, and it's way, way, way pinker than I thought it was going to be, so that turned into a little bit of a disaster. But I have a whole box of Trixie stuff here, and then the other cool thing is I got a little mixing palette, so I can mix stuff up, because usually if I'm trying to match two different colors, I'm like doing it on the back of my hand. So now I don't know how to do this. I'm not an artiste. Is it like somebody teach me how? Is it like this? How do painters do it? I have to go watch them Bob Ross. Anyway, something like that. So that's my brief. I'm glad I drove everyone away with my brief makeup influencer stream. God knows the makeup is not good enough today to be makeup influencer. But I just think it's fun because I think what a lot of us don't realize that are in the comics collected space is that like we don't have the market cornered on nerd collection anymore. There's so many, like makeup has turned into a nerd thing. You should see the boxes they come in, and like just like even that lip gloss that I just put on. And the way that all of her products are, that they're these little hearts, they're just fun to hold. They smell good. So like even, it's collectorism is not restricted to comic books. There's Krisis's makeup corner, which I'm certainly not doing Trixie proud today. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to talk about one of the biggest books and boxes that I have ever received from the United States. And it was stuck in customs for like 2 weeks because it was such a big box that they actually like held it and examined it and had questions for if it was for my personal use. I'm like, what does that even mean? I guess this isn't personal use, kind of. It's like a little bit of a business use, but whatever, don't call customs. So I saw that there's that new Valiant Kickstarter. You've heard me talking about it a few times for the Harbinger Classic Omnibus. And I remember when the Valiant hardcovers, omnibuses first started coming out, I was interested because I love all things 90 continuity. And people were like, oh, it's a black border around the art's not oversized. And somehow that talked me out of it, but also because there's so much Valiant that I was kind of like waiting to see if they'd ever get to a volume 2. You know that's how I am, that I'm always like waiting to see if somebody's going to take it that far. Well, once they started the new Kickstarter, I was like, is there a way to get all these books? And there's there's like 8 of them, six of them, 7 of them, some large number, I think 7. And I was like, ugh. And so I was doing the math. A lot of them are out of print. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do it in New Zealand. I can't get excited about this Kickstarter. Lo and behold, I went on eBay and somebody who was a near mint condition person, we found out, who's on the Discord, was selling the whole set. So I got the whole set of every Valiant Omnibus. Now I've only opened 2 so far, XO because I know XO Manowar, and Eternal Warrior, which is the newest one that was actually printed by Alien Books, who's doing it now. So we're gonna look at those 2. So this is the XO Manowar Omnibus. It feels solid. This is a nice build. I'm really, really excited about it. Beautiful, beautiful dust jacket, which we are now going to take off. And I've already stretched this. I try to never just open a book live on the air and not pre-stretch it, because I don't want to do violence to the book just in the, you know, for the sake of 2 minutes of content and then always have a cracked book. So this is like old style Marvel, like a fake leatherette with a deboss on it. The deboss is really nice. Really, really nice. And like usually Marvel would not put that much information, like all the author stuff, on the deboss. The page block is just like a normal page block. It's got black wrapped cover boards on the inside. And the thing that I like about this, I did look at it a little bit earlier, is that it's not hyper saturated. Like these do feel like real scans of the comics. So there's some texture and the colors are not super, super pushed the way they are often in Marvel. And, you know, some people have positives and negatives, but especially in a page like this, his armor looks like that's the color it was on the paper at the time. It would look weird if it was like hot, hot, hot orange. That's not the purpose of how it should look. So, so I definitely feel like they captured the vibe of what these comics are supposed to look like on page here with however they're managing these scans. You can see a little texture, like the black is not super, super black. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here, but try to compare the black in this panel to the black on the side of the page. You probably can't see it on here, but this black, it's clear that it's textured and it's from some kind of scan of another print, whereas this is like a black on the front of the page. But again, I like it. Like it looks right. It makes me feel like I'm reading a comic book and not some like digital retouch something. I mean, this is really nice. I'm actually, it doesn't have a, tailband. Not that that matters. I mean, that doesn't help with the glue necessarily, but, it's pretty square. It's not a rounded spine, but this is a nice book. So I'm actually now hype levels are increasing. This is why I wanted to do this stream, because I just got this box finally 2 days ago and I've been like dying to play with them. And I'm like, no, this is like one of the biggest hauls you've really ever had in New Zealand. We've got to do it on screen and get your live actual reaction. And now that we have it, I'm really, really excited. So this is the only Valiant book that I really have a lot of experience with. This and like some of the ones that don't fully belong to them, like Solar. So then there's this whole series of other ones, which I'm not going to open all of, and I don't necessarily have them in the order of release. So there's Shadow Man, and this is a volume 1 as well, as was XO Manowar, only has about half. So Shadow Man, I guess we'll just shelve them as we go here. Then this one, Archer and Armstrong, which is everything. This is the complete Archer and Armstrong. And so this has Archer and Armstrong 0 through 26, and then a crossover with Eternal Warrior 25, and then it has Chaos Effect, Omega, and Ray 0, along with Archer and Armstrong, the formation of the sect. So this is everything classic. And we're talking about classic Valiant, so this is 90s Valiant. This is a different universe than 2012 Valiant. So this is Bloodshot, and this is a volume 1, because there's a lot of Bloodshot. Again, this gets about 24 issues and some crossover issues. Bloodshot. Then we have Quantum and Woody, which famously is by Christopher Priest. This is everything. This is the whole series. So it's 1 through 21 and 32. And I know they went back and like added something to it later, but I didn't get that OHC because it's not part of the classic. So this is everything Quantum and Woody. Then one that I'm really excited about because I really like this character and I like the creative team. This is Ninjak, and this is complete. So this is everything Ninjak. Love, love, love that cover. And this is Dan Abnett and Annie Lanning do some of the writing. And again, a lot of these, so this is 26 issues, a 0 issue, a 00, a yearbook, and then a crossover with Bloodshot and an issue of Secret Weapons. So that's those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and XO Manowar were the ones that were originally put out by Valiant when Valiant was doing them themselves. And you can see this is cool. They did a different Valiant V for some of them in the color of the main logo. Oh no, I have hair in my mouth. And if I touch my lip gloss. I'm going to get lip gloss in the books. All right, I got it. But then Alien Books started doing their printing, and so they printed this one, Eternal Warrior. Now, this has a different build. There's no dust jacket. It does have a tailband, which I think the newest of these was maybe Ninja. Yeah, none of them had tailbands. But this is just art on board cover. And actually, I don't know if you can see, but it's got a emboss or like a spot metallic varnish on Warrior. Unfortunately, this one got a little ding on it, which is not their fault. But you know, that's what dust jackets are for. No dust jacket means no protection. It still has the same black interior board. This is like the board is it's almost like, I guess just because it's not that really solid leatherette, it almost has this hollow like drum-like quality to it. But it's really hefty in the hand, and the paper. And actually, this is my favorite part. The paper is this really toothy matte paper. So I'm really kind of excited about that. Like it holds the colors actually, I think, a little bit better. And once again, these colors feel really true to the original comic books. Now, this is a volume 1, so there will be more. All of the layout on the back is exactly the same as on the other ones. It just says Alien Books. And much like all the other ones, this has about 25 issues. So it's not where they're going to stay, obviously. But there you go. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 existing Valiant omnibuses. And now I'm ready for the brand new Harbinger one. Now, if you just look here, the Eternal Warrior one is ever so slightly shorter. I mean, not even a centimeter, just like a ever so slightly shorter. And even though it looks really square, I think that's just the illusion of the dust jacket, because we saw that had a pretty square spine. But all this layout, everything in the spine is exactly laid out the same, except this spine has a spot varnish on it to stand out the logo and the little Alien Books at the bottom, but that's really the only difference. So we all like shelf uniformity here, and that is really exciting, right? That's really fun. So I'm all set. I pledged for the Harbinger one. If you're looking for all these, I think there's 2 of them still on IST. Some of them are pretty pricey. You probably are going to want to try to find a group of them on eBay, because plenty of people bought them and just never opened them. I think if you're looking to get in on this game, you probably want to look for a lot of them. And I've been talking to the communications director at Valiant, and it's if this campaign is very successful, which it seems like it is on the path to be, we are going to continue to get more. So the really interesting question is the ones that are Volume 1, Shadow Man, Bloodshot, and XO, that or before Alien Books took over, would they do a volume 2 in the Kickstarter, more like the production quality of this Eternal Warrior, and then would they reissue the volume 1? Because they're not going to get too far selling a volume 2 if the volume 1's completely out of print and unavailable. So I'm super interested to know the answer to that question, and I'm so excited. Again, I think I'm going to have a stream once I'm all caught up of my top 100 most wanted to sit down and binge, because I want to sit down. I love XO, and as somebody rightfully pointed out in the comments, that has some Joe Quesada art in it. So really exciting. But yeah, Pope, I really like these toothier matte pages. I don't mind a matte paper in a comic book if the comic was meant to be on a matte paper. Comic books from the 70s look great on a matte instead of a gloss. Comic books from the 90s, which are right on the borderline of being on gloss, if you go back to the original issues, some of them are, some of them aren't. And Marvel, that was a deluxe that had gloss. Some of the colors take much better on a toothy paper. But then once you get into digital colors and the 2000s, things don't look right on a toothy paper, because the colors they're not being colored knowing that they're going to get as sucked up by the paper, and so the colors are more pushed to be their actual, or maybe they're not pushed as much. The colorist is assuming the actual value is going to be closer to what shows up in the paper, whereas in the newsprint times, you kind of had push the color extra because you know it was going to get soaked up, and you knew the paper wasn't perfectly white paper either, which is why when we see things like Marvel Masterworks and everybody's like, the colors are so pumped up, that's because we're seeing it on this creamy, perfect, white, glossy paper. So if they are copying the original colors, the colors are just going to look brighter because it's not getting soaked in by newsprint. So I do think that Venom. I'm not one of these people who are like, it's not glossy paper. I like a paper with some tooth in it. I think it's often the appropriate paper to use. Hello to One Wheelchair X. Don't worry, I'm working hard on pull list too, so we can finally do our stream that we want to do. There is going to be a pull list tomorrow. Okay, let's continue with the other 2 DC Finest I had in this order. One of them I know nothing about, which is Metamorpho. And I do know that this is like just about, I think it's just about everything you can get of him, although it stops in May 1972. I just don't think he has a lot after May 1972. Maybe there could be another volume. I know I have that DC Finest spreadsheet, so I guess I could go take a look on that and see. But this starts basically with his debut in 1964, and it continues through 1972. And I'm not a huge Metamorpho fan, but we know that once I sign up for something, I'm in. So since I signed up for all the DC Finest, I got the Metamorpho Finest, and I'm going to learn about Metamorpho. I think we said a second volume could collect all his material through 2007. So let me look at my sheet and see what we said that could include. So we said a second one could be called The Deadly Element, and it could have backups from Action Comics, an appearance in World's Finest Comics, a first issue special, an appearance in Brave and the Bold, DC Comics Presents, some of the material from DC Justice League Europe, and then he had a miniseries in 1993, and then he had another miniseries in 2006. So, and then he was in Five of a Kind, Metamorpho and Aquaman, and also Wednesday Comics in 2009. So we would only need one more book to totally get all of Metamorpho ever, pretty much before Flashpoint, into DC Finest. Now, here's a book that I know much better, and I am much more familiar with. It is the first Catwoman DC Finest, and actually it's the second Catwoman DC Finest. We already got one. Okay, so that first one doesn't just start at the beginning of the Jim Valiant run. It starts prior to that to pick up pretty much everything that she had from post-Krisis onward. And so then this one is just squarely the Jim Valiant run. This is called Catwoman, Vengeance and Vindication. It's got this beautiful purple because that's what her costume was, and it has issues 0, 13 through 32 and annual 2, as well as a crossover with Batman, Shadow of the Bat, and a story from Showcase 1996 number 4. So again, this is pretty big. This is going right up against 600 pages. It's got that same paper that all DC Finest do, and you know, Jim Valiant really knew how to draw some ladies, and he really knew. And what's funny is, I feel like she was a little bit more voluptuous towards the beginning of the run. And then as the run went on, she got like a little bit more stretched out and lean, because I just think that Valiant's style changed. But I really, really like this purple costume era of Catwoman. To me, this is Catwoman. Like, I want to see her with the whip, with the high boots, stealing stuff, doing crimes. Sometimes I think we're a little too esoteric about, like, what do we do with Catwoman? It's like, let her be Catwoman. And I know now that she's, like, not so much this is the first time she ever had a solo series. So now she's not so much of a surprise. She's not so much as a, anti-hero. I think she's kind of, like, solidly a hero at this point. And so we don't get to do as much fun stuff with her. So I also have this little book that I've had kicking around in this room forever. And I realized as I was getting ready for the for tomorrow's pull list, there's a new series of this out. It's called The Last Witch. It is from Boombox, who also does Lumberjanes. This is a digest size. So if I get Catwoman back out, it's a little bit shorter. And I first read this series when it was originally coming out, I want to say in like 2020 maybe. And it was an instant classic. I loved it. I didn't just love it to give to a kid. I loved it for anybody. It came out in 2020 and 2021. And it's a story of a girl whose parents have passed away, and her grandmother is some kind of magical person. And the grandmother starts instructing her in her magical power, but there are these evil witches of all the different elements who want to take her power, or at least have her join them. And then there's also, she has a little brother who she's trying to protect. It has really, really gorgeous cartooning. And it was one of those books, kind of like Mamo, another book that I really, really like from Boombox, that I think it was an instant classic story. Like, it just felt like a Pixar movie or a Disney movie or something. Like, the animation was beautiful. The story was beautiful. There were surprises. She, makes friends along the way, and she's got to defeat these witches. So it felt like a very kind of hero's journey kind of thing. And I remember it ending and being like, gosh, I wish they would do more of that. It seems like there could be more. And actually, lo and behold, on June 18th, the first issue of his second series came out 4 years later. So I'm going to be talking about that on Pull List yesterday. But I was like, do I have this? And I was looking at my bookshelves, and I was looking in Kid Krisis's bookshelves, and then I like went into, I have this one shelf over there of like stuff I haven't unwrapped yet that's still in the plastic, and I was like, oh my gosh, I still have it in the plastic. So I was gaslighting Kid Krisis to be like, you've read this book? And I'm like telling her the plot. She's like, I don't know. It doesn't sound that familiar to me. I'm like, that was me gaslighting you. Okay, what's next? What's next? I'm also keeping, how popular are Catwoman books? She pretty much always has an ongoing series, but I don't see many people talking about them except for me. Well, I think the thing with Catwoman is that she's different things to different people, right? She's like a bad girl, a curvy, cheesecakey book to those of us from the 90s. And then in the 2000s, she was being, she had When in Rome. She had a whole lengthy run by Ed Brubaker. So then she was more of like a true crime character. And then if you're a fan of her from the 2010s, I mean, she wasn't that significant in New 52, although she did have a whole run. Then we know her very much as Batman's love interest. Like that is the period that she was Batman's full-time love interest, of culminating, of course, in their wedding. So I think you're trying to serve like 3 different layers of fans with any Catwoman book you do. And then there's also that little period right before Flashpoint that she was in Gotham City Sirens. And so that's like kind of a good time gal, third wheel to, Ivy and Harley. And I think it's really, really hard to thread that needle. Right? So right now, the current run by Turin Gumback, which I don't really like. I see what she's doing, though. She's trying to do a Catwoman When in Rome. She's trying to do a very Brubakery, true crime, no mention of her being a Catwoman, not in uniform. Just what does Selena Kyle do internationally, and where did she come from internationally? For me, personally, I want to see her in the costume and the whip. Not for any kind of cheesecake factor, but that's just who that character is for me. So, like, that's what I want. And so I just think that DC has a lot of trouble serving all the masters, and sometimes a run does try to serve all of the masters and like address each one of those things that she's known for, and that often flops. So it's really, really hard, I think, to kind of thread that needle perfectly. Okay, I'm just trying to go. Keep in mind, I don't have my glasses on because I don't want to see my makeup. How do they print things like the hollow foil covers of the 0 issues in the Omnibus? Well, Eternal Warrior doesn't have a 0. Does Exo have a 0? Exo had a 0. All right, let me see if I can find that, and we will learn the answer together. Oh no, I don't think there's like a table of contents. Oh no. Oh no, there is. There is. Oh, the first one is the 0. Okay, well that's not going to be hard. Here I was fretting. Wow, these pages are really nice. Yeah, it's just a scan, and that's the same way that Marvel does it with the chromium covers. It'd be nice if they had the original art, or if there was a non-chromium version that they could scan, because often, for those of you who like buy classic issues still, or like put things together for binds, it's often much harder to get the like newsstand variant because there were so few of them and people didn't keep them. So I remember I needed the newsstand variant of Uncanny X-Men 350, the Trial of Gambit, because the regular DM cover is like a cardstock cover, and I knew if I bound it, which was the plan at that time, this was 10 years ago, that it wasn't going to bind really cleanly. Like that one cover was always going to stick up because it was cardboard. And so the actual issue at that time, raw, for like a very fine condition issue, I could get for like $5 maybe, or like $4. And I remember I had to pay like $12 or $13 to get a decent copy of the newsstand version. And that was a decade ago. So they've only gone up. So yeah, a lot of times getting newsstand versions is more expensive. But my whole point being that like usually I'm trying to find my Gen X epics. Usually if there was a newsstand version of something. Oh, sorry. I'm reaching for books and I can't. Here we go. Oh, but where's volume 1? Asshole. Oh, there it is. Okay. So usually there was like a newsstand version of a cover, and that has the real colors on it. So like so Marvel often will scan, although here they didn't. Here they literally scanned the chromium strip from this Phalanx Covenant cover, whereas if you look at the cover of the actual Phalanx Covenant OHC with that flat red background, that was what the newsstand ones look like. But then the cover of Generation X #1, which I will get to eventually, here, so they actually scan the real colors from the newsstand version rather than the chromium version. So if there is a newsstand version extant, if it exists, then I think often the newsstand one is the one that gets scanned. Okay. I like the questions. Thank you for the questions. Yes, bonus stream. Genre me. Yes, they're good reads for me. Catwoman is very 90s. I mean, nobody's gonna call it a classic comic, but it was fun because it was James Ballant or Jim Ballant for so long. I mean, he wrote it for like I think almost the whole run. So it's fun when there's one writer on a character that like takes them through things. It's not repetitive. Things don't come out of left field. So I just like it for that reason. And I have it actually all in singles. So I was like, ooh, am I going to do these DC Finests? Yeah, Pope Romero, you should never change it. I have everything Catwoman. That was after I got everything Wonder Woman. I thought to myself, is there another character that I really want to have everything from for DC? And this was, I guess, 2013 or 14. And I was like, Catwoman. So I have everything Catwoman up to New 52. I mean, I even went back and got some of her key appearances from the 80s because I was going to do like a pre-Flashpoint Catwoman bind. So I have a lot of Catwoman. I think she's often a really good character. If anything, she's lost her way after the Tom King run, in a way. Because I think after that, now people want her to be the love interest, and then people want to keep her out of Gotham to make her not the love interest. And I think that gets really, really complicated. Yeah, the Valiant, as I mentioned when I took these out, these are super, super out of print. There's only 2 of them, I think, that are like in print and available. And there's another one you can like kind of find. But some of them you just got to set up alerts. And I don't know. The luck was with me that day. I don't know who was on my side. The comic gods were watching. I literally loaded up eBay and there was a person who was selling them all and they had it on sale. And I did the math. And even with the shipping, it was cheaper than getting each one of them at like IST prices. I don't know how I did it. So let's see. Okay, so we have another DC thing. We have another totally non-comics thing that I just find hilarious. And then we have my all-time white whale. And then we're going to just kind of drift to a stop at the end. So I have to set up for a second for this next thing. This is not a comic book thing. And I know you only care so much about not comic book things, but I'm hoping this is funny enough that you will get a laugh out of it. I mean, I didn't just buy it to give you a laugh out of it. Okay, so, where's the other thing? So the thing about New Zealand is that there's not a lot of choice in things all of the time because everything that gets here has to be shipped here. And so there's not a lot of in New Zealand production. I mean, there are for some products and like foods and stuff, but a lot like, I don't know, guitars or like anything that's really like plasticky. There's not a lot of in New Zealand production. There actually is one company, Sistema, that does like little kitchen things that are really nice that are produced in New Zealand. And so I, of course, much like comic books, accumulated so much makeup, but I promise this is not just about makeup. I was like, oh, I need a big case for it. And you know, in the States, people like make those like kind of rolling suitcases that you could put anything into. Like you could put tools into them. You could put, I don't know, like sewing things into them, right? But here, to get one of those, the shipping is so much and they're like $500. I'm like, I'm not spending $500. So I started going online and I was like, what can I buy that's like a case that has a lot of stuff? So I was looking at like toolboxes, but they're still pretty small. I was looking like sewing kits, but everything is sized like little threads and needles, and I needed things that could hold like brushes and like all those compact cases. And I finally realized the thing that I needed was a tackle box, a fishing tackle box. And I'm like, oh, there's plenty of people who fish in New Zealand, so this is going to be a thing. And sure enough, tackle boxes were only like $100 or $200. I'm like, all right, we're getting there. So then I put an alert on tackle boxes, and I found this one, and it wasn't selling, and it was brand new, and it was super cool. And I put in an offer and the guy accepted it. And I got this tackle box for $40. But the thing that makes me laugh is that he thinks I'm going to use it for shipping. He doesn't know what kind of crazy person is. So with the tackle box, he sent me a free lure for a fishing lure. This is big. It's as big as my head. What kind of fish are we luring with this? I guess because it has to be a fish that would be big enough to eat this fish, right? But it, you know, and it has, I'm like, am I supposed to get my ear pierced? Like, wouldn't it be funny if I just came on and I was just wearing this fishing lure? And anyway, so he doesn't know. He gave me this lure, which honestly had to be a pretty big amount of the value of the tackle box. So here's the tackle box, which now has all the makeup in it that I don't use every single day. And it's just a cool box. I love storage stuff. And it actually came with all these small fishing lure boxes that like fit into it, like filing. So I haven't even figured out I'm gonna use them for like guitar picks or something. But there's like 6 of these because the whole idea is that you're supposed to file them and I guess just take them out and be like, oh, I'm catching the big fish today. I don't know about fishing. So so that came with it. But yeah, so now I have this fishing lure box, but I freaking love it. It was only $40. So it has this like, the top part opens, and then there's this whole like top part, and any kind of box that has adjustable things that you can pull out and then put back in at a different spot, I am into it. That's like my favorite thing. Because I'm like, yes, let us customize our space, right? Like, imagine if all these bookshelves we could customize. But then, of course, bookshelves are not as sturdy. But then it also opens up and there's an inside too. So I know you don't all care about this. I see the numbers plummeting, but I just thought that was funny that was one of the things I got in the mail was this fishing tackle box, and he just did not know that what I'd be using it for. So I got a free fishing lure with that. Okay, tackle box. Should we do my biggest whale of all time since you just endured my tackle box? I think we should. So you all know that before I moved to New Zealand, when I had about 60 days of notice, and I had already been collecting Wildstorm pretty regularly over the course of the years, and so I went into this crazy panic to try to finish out my Wildstorm collection and get the last couple of issues I was missing and also the last couple of trades. And you've all heard me tell the story that I ran down the street chasing the moving truck as it was pulling away from our house with all the stuff to be like, this box just came from In Stock Trades. Here's me, sweaty, bandana on, have just been moving for 2 days, literally chasing the truck like a dog, waving, I think, like Captain Adam Armageddon. Be like, you gotta put this on the truck because I don't want to bring it in my suitcase. What you've heard less of is that was not just Wildstorm. I pretty much decided to go after all of Original Image, except for I did Top Cow, but only like Cyberforce, because Witchblade and Darkness just seemed like too much, which is a good call, because now we're getting those beautiful hardcovers like I already showed you already. And I did all of Shadowhawk. That wasn't super hard. Jim Valentino Shadowhawk. I skipped Spawn, which again was a good plan because we wound up getting the Compendium. See, past Krisis was strategic. And I did all of Rob Liefeld. I have Supreme, Glory, everything Youngblood until it finally like crashed and burned at the end of the Awesome Comics era. And so in getting everything Youngblood, towards the end of the 1990s and into the 2000s, Youngblood was, Alan Moore wrote it for a little while, and then it relaunched again. He kept relaunching it, Rob Liefeld, with like 1 or 2 issues, and then there would be like a convention special or like a 0 issue, and then it would like sputter, and then he would launch it again. And it happened a couple of times. So there's like a couple of iterations of this. So I was like dutifully finding them all on eBay, and I was trying to find lots that had them, because whenever you're looking for single issues, you always want a lot. Even if you don't need all those issues, even if you're gonna like just take them to the local comics book store and give them to them for $1 or give it to a kid or whatever, anytime you're buying one issue on eBay or My Comic Shop or whatever, it's always going to be more expensive than you got in a lot. Always, especially later issues in a run. Just buy the lot and get the other issues and have options, right? This is my message to you as somebody who owns a lot of single comic books. And there was this one issue of Youngblood. Yes, even Brigade, Super Drop. I have all of Brigade. I have all of Bloodstrike. The thing that I wish I had done, because they got more expensive afterwards, was I wish I'd done all of his Extreme books. I didn't, or Maximum Press. So I didn't do Evangeline, which I should have, because then I got option for a movie and they got more expensive. I should have just did it, but I was literally in 60 days. Like, I didn't have a lot of time. And I was also trying to figure out how to like get a shipping container and like, what's it like to buy a car in New Zealand? So there are other things happening in my life other than just comic books, but every day I was like trying to spend like an hour being like, oh my gosh, this might be my last chance. Let's get the comic books. So I didn't get all of his Maximum Press stuff, but I got everything that was originally from Extreme Studios. So, another great idea for tackle boxes. Andy Holcomb uses them for Star Wars miniatures. Yeah, the inside, I mean, there's a limit to your interest, but the inside of this is really huge and deep, and it also has those convertible slots to make it as big as you want. So that's where I have all my like palettes and deeper things. But that would be great for these Marvel Unite. I have all of Marvel United, and if Come On doesn't go under, I'll have all of DC United too. And they like take up a whole room of my house at this point, because each of those boxes only has like 5 miniatures and 5 decks of cards in it. So I'm like, oh, it would be nice to get an organizer for that. But you know, there's only so many hours in the day to think with. Anyway, long story, can't be short because it's too late. But I was trying to find this one last issue and I could not find it anywhere. It was to the point that I was like, I would have spent $100 and I could not find it. And even since I've been in New Zealand, I've had an eBay alert for this book since the day I touched down in New Zealand, and I've never seen it for sale. And so one day I was on Reddit a few months ago and somebody posted that it was their white whale. And I said, oh my gosh, me too. I don't know if you know this, but I've been looking for this for like a decade. Like it's really hard to find. He said, oh yeah, I've done some research and there was only ever 1,500 copies. I'm like, oh, and it was a convention book. So it's not like you didn't hit the direct market. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I don't think I have any comic that I collect that was only 1,500 copies. I just resigned myself. Like, it's never going to happen. So then all of a sudden I get this Reddit DM from this random stranger to be like, you need to get online right now. Liefeld just put 10 issues on his Whatnot store of Youngblood, Bloodsport, issue number 2, Wizard World, Los Angeles. But the only way to buy them is if you let Rob Liefeld sign them. So I bought this one single issue and I got it shipped from the United States. And between the cost of the issue with Rob Liefeld, so now I have a Rob Liefeld original signature. Between that and the shipping of this one issue, this was as much as an omnibus. This is as much as like one of these or like a brand new Marvel omnibus. It's almost the same amount that I'm spending on the Harbinger Kickstarter. So let's open this motherfucker right now. So this is, yeah, I think it's only like 8 pages. It feels real slim. So here it is. I've been looking for it since 2015. Here's Rob Liefeld's signature. Looks like a Sharpie was starting to run out of gas, Rob Liefeld. Here's the back cover. Actually pretty cool. Really nice in my, I mean, he literally said, I found some of these in my closet. So maybe they're only either 1,500 were how many were circulating. And then he had like another 100 in his closet, or even funnier, less than 1,500 ever circulated because he had the rest of it in his closet. And by the way, as Superjob just pointed out, also Mark Miller is the writer. And we know how much I love Mark Miller. So this, I can't, I'm trying to figure out how to show it to you without hurting it. So it's like a 5-page story. And then it's got rough pencils. But I think this is a metallic ink on an interior on this lettering. I don't know in my whole life if I've ever seen it. I can't tell because I don't have my glasses on. Maybe it's just a spot red. It looks awfully metallic to me. Hold on. I'm watching me rip this issue by mistake that I've been looking for 10 years. All right, we're just going to have to... I think it's a metallic ink. I don't know. I could be imagining it, but I think it's a metallic ink on the interior. So there's... Oh, but so it's not even that this is a special feature. It's just that they were literally still working on this issue at the time. And so there's finished pages and then there's like rough pencil pages. That's actually pretty cool. So it's pretty slim. And it's just got all these penciled pages and all of like sketches for these characters. And then this actual series lasted, I think, all of 2 issues and then never got finished. So this is now the single most expensive single issue in my collection. And I have it signed by Rob Liefeld. And am I going to get that slabbed? No, sir. No, ma'am. I am going to probably just put it in a bind with a bunch of other late 90s, early 2000s Youngblood nonsense. So there you go. I have no more wants left. I mean, I still have things I want. I got these, right? But this was like this all happened within like the span of 48 hours. I was like, oh, I should get them. And then I got them. There is one thing that I've been waiting to get. And I think I'm going to buy it this week. But nothing. There is nothing else existing anywhere in the world that I wanted before I came to New Zealand that is now in New Zealand. And God help you if you want a copy of it too, because they cannot be had. Okay. Oh, I know what we're doing next. So DC, you'll notice that I've been buying a lot of DC lately. And that's because it seems like they've got their act together. Like they seem like they have a real collected editions department now. It seems like the DC Finest are such a cool idea. The compact comics, the compendiums. It just seems like DC finally understands like people want this stuff on their shelves, right? Like, so I have been loving these Milestone compendiums. There's another thing on my list of 100 runs I need to just sit down and read. I've only paged through. But they're so cool. And they've got these really nice matte soft touch covers, which all of the compendiums do. Lobo does, Superman does. And they have these really kind of nice, I wouldn't call the pages matte necessarily. They're matte. They're just not toothy. They're a low gloss comic. And this, much like those Valiant omnibuses, they're clearly trying to get away with pretty limited retouching here. And so these are just scans from the comics that they've tried to just scan at a decent quality and clean up. And that's fine with me. They look great. I get that I think it's funny that they're like, who knows? Maybe it's from the original art. This could be from original camera readies that they still have digital files of. Actually, they probably are. And the reason I say that is you can't see page texture. Usually when things are scanned from comics, which you can often see in Marvel omnibuses, yeah, they got a really high DPI scan of it, but you can see the page texture of the paper. Whereas a camera ready still exists on film. So I have all 3 of these. I think it's going to be a 5-book series. So I'm like very excited to get all of them and then read it, because that's how I am. I wait for everything. So I was so excited to get number 4. Does something look different to you about this? Something look different? First of all, spine logo, which we can't help, right? But are you noticing how this one's shimmering like my lips? That's because this is a gloss cover. Why, DC? Why? What are you doing? All the other ones, every other compendium I have, Sandman Mystery Theater, Superman Death and Return, Lobo, they're all that really nice super matte soft touch cover, and this is a glossy cover on the 4th volume. What are you doing? Then, oh wait, we're not done. Then the pages are different. They're not high gloss, but this stock is a glossier stock. Now, these books are from later in the 90s, and so there are some pages like this one that's got a lot of color on the page that I think it does probably look better on this paper. But if we go earlier in the book, I don't think that was a decision of like, oh, these are just different colors. I think they made a goof. I think they goofed, because a page like this does not look as good on this glossy stock. It would look better on a toothier stock. And you can see that. I mean, this could just be like not great coloring, but you could see it in her face. It almost just looks like piecey on this, because again, it's not like getting absorbed into the paper. It's just sitting more on gloss paper. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why, DC? Why? Now, to be fair, this gloss might have a better build quality, right? Is it thicker? No, it's not thicker. It's not. And the thing is, when we talk about like a glossy cover, that's not the paper. This has got like something on it. Like if you like peeled, you could peel it back. So it might actually be the same cover board underneath, but it's not like it's significantly heavier. Now, that is much more similar to the build of the Spawn compendium, which the Spawn compendium does have very, very glossy paper, but this was digitally colored from the start. So, like, you need a glossy paper to take these colors. These colors would look like ass on newsprint. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm still happy to have it. It was, as we talked about in a moment of crisis this week, it was, verging on inaccessible media, right? Like it was not that accessible because it had never been reprinted. So I'm happy it exists, but I don't know what DC's doing. All right, let me actually put on my glasses because I can't see a damn thing. I guess I'm gonna have to be subjected to my makeup as much as you are. Okay. Yeah, who knows? It probably got a bunch of spittle on it while I was talking. It probably has a little flecks of lip gloss in it. It'll never be near mint again, but that's okay. That's fine. What do I have slab mercy crowned? Nothing. I don't believe in slabs. If anybody showed me their slabs, I'd go in with the sledgehammer, like Miley Cyrus and the Wrecking Ball video, and break them all open. I don't think it's a thing. I think it's ridiculous. I think if you have one comic that you have like an emotional connection with, and you wanted to slab your original copy of Uncanny X-Men 269 because it was your sexual awakening when Rogue was in the torn up suit, cool. But to go and spend $100 on a key that's just in a slab that you can't even read, when you could get a whole omnibus or buy a comic and read it, I just don't understand. My brain doesn't do that. And I collect all sorts of stuff. Makeup, blazers, books, D&D books, board games. I collect so much stuff, and I really do try to keep it nice. I freak out when things get creased or whatever. I don't have a single thing in my collection that I collected just to keep nice. Like, I have a guitar signed by my favorite band, Garbage, that there's scratches in Shirley Manson's signature because did I play that guitar? You better believe I played that guitar. So yeah, I just don't believe in it. Yeah. DC has indeed been cooking, and Bunkmaster was like complimenting them too soon. I knew I had saved up that to hit you with. What do I think the chances are of Liefeld going omnibus or compendium? Well, the thing is that Liefeld is addicted to remastering his own books, and it actually turns out for the better. I've been reading that Youngblood Deluxe, which it's in tomorrow's pull list as well. It's great. Like I think him like recoloring his original books and rescripting them, relettering them, it shows how good his storytelling was all along. He just wasn't the most savvy writer, but like everything else about them really, really pops. So I think with Leafield, I don't know if he would ever give us original Youngblood in its original format in a compendium, even though there's so many people who would snap it up. Like, I think he's proven again and again there's tons of Youngblood fans, crazy fans who don't operate on logic and reason, who will just buy whatever. I mean, he just did a manga version of Youngblood #1, which I'm sure sold plenty of copies. So I'm sure a compendium would sell, and that's what I would love him to do, especially because it would be like a Team Youngblood, a Youngblood, and like a Brigade, a Blood I mean, it would be so great, but I just don't see him doing it. I think he's too addicted to the George Lucas of it all, the whole remastering, reissuing, and I don't think he's ever gonna do it, but I would love it. I would love it if they would. Yeah, I don't really mind logo differences. I know people get twisted. I mean, if you look up at my Masterwork shelf, you can see the difference between when they used to have the thick Marvel logo, and then when it turned into the white reversed out Marvel logo, and then it says Masterworks beneath it. And people were really angry about that when that happened. They were like, this is a betrayal. Maybe they should have stopped the line back then instead of continuing until now. But I don't super get tweaked. I think it's kind of like an archaeological dig. Like if you've got a line of 26 books on your shelf and has different publisher logos, as long as the rest of the layout is consistent, it's kind of fun to see like, oh wow, this reprint line, continued through many different iterations of DC. I truly don't mind that. Even the Marvel logo at the top of the spine, which I do, I mean, that's more difficult because there's such a big color block. It's not just a little bullet like a DC logo. And so, so that's like a little bit more of a bummer, I think, when that changes. But I don't mind logo changes. I do mind layout changes on the spine. Layout changes bug me more. Like when all the I don't have one handy. All the classic Marvel omnibuses went to the smaller lettering on the spines. That bugged me because that's like an aesthetic change beyond just the change of a logo that shows kind of like the drift of things over time. That is different. Jean Remy wouldn't slab a comic, but would get an issue I personally love framed. Yeah, I have a few that I would frame. Return the slabs of Skull Dog. Okay, so I only have a couple other things. One is another stack of Epic collections. I don't know that I need to go into these super in-depth. So this was the oldest Epic collection that we didn't have yet, which is an Iron Man's line, which is the Invincible Iron Man, The Rings to Rule the World, which is number 7. It's actually relatively slim for an Epic collection. It collects Iron Man 92 to 114, which is, I would not say is the most widely loved run of Iron Man. And I haven't read all of it. It is written primarily by Bill Mantlo with some Jerry Conway in it. And it's got primarily pencils from George Tuska and Keith Pollard with many other pencilers and many other inkers. So yeah, I don't know this run super, super well. I'm excited to have it. I see Tony with his 70s mustache. I see Sunfire. So I'm going to get some mutant action. Actually, this page is really cool looking. So, let's see. Oh, I don't know if I can reach all the way to Iron Man. I was going to... Oh, no, he's right here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7. And then we have 10. So, I guess we need 8 and 9 still? Yeah. Unless I got them shelved in the wrong order. No, I think we need 8 and 9. So, we're filling in the gaps. So, then... Thunderbolts... Volume 3, this is Thunderbolts 26 through 41, Annual 2000, and Avengers Annual 2000, which it crossed over with. It's called Targeted for Death. For some reason, they've decided to put Angel on the cover. I don't think he's necessarily a comic that sells Thunderbolts, but maybe they're trying to sell it to X-Men fans. This is primarily written by Kurt Busiek, Joe Casey, and Fabian Ceza. I guess Hawkeye doesn't really sell comic books, so you're not going to put Hawkeye on the cover. Yeah, Thunderbolts... Late 90s is interesting for covers as somebody who has to pick covers a lot of times to like show off guides or like kind of like explain what a run is by virtue of showing one cover. A lot of times in the late 90s, the covers were so story based, which I don't think thing, but they weren't as pin-up-y. And so, I mean, they're a good, like, actually I would have maybe chosen this one. I think it's got a good spread of the team, but like Atlas so big in the middle, nobody knows who he is. Nobody's going to buy a book because of him. But then is anybody buying a book because of this? But like, a lot of covers were very, very specific to what was happening in the issue. So this actually feels like a pretty thin, this actually has a really nice paper for this. I mean, I guess it's just the standard, but everything looks really good. Now, we've had all of this early Thunderbolts and like I think like 3 trade paperbacks. I'm sure I have a guide that explains it. So there's not actually a lot of Thunderbolts to collect that hasn't been collected, and plus there's omnibuses too. There's that weird in the middle part of the Thunderbolts run where all of the Thunderbolts leave and it just turns into like a girl fight club for like 8 issues, and Marvel always tries to avoid reprinting that, but I guess they're going to have to in the Thunderbolts line. Okay, but then this is exciting. I'm excited. I cannot believe that this is real. This is insane. This is crazy talk. So yeah, it's the first ROM Epic Collection. I just want to show you the layout is really, really different on the back. Oh, that would not be the back. Because they wanted to distinguish this. So it has that box around the recap-y stuff, and the letters are reversed out. It has the Hasbro logo on it. The Epic logo is reversed out, and it's in red. And then the spines are pretty much the same because Marvel keeps the spines very, very similar. But then the front cover, the top of the ROM is in like almost like a bubble or like a bullet that's off of the background as opposed to the Marvel ones, which are just black. So Marvel's not going super big on these but they are going super fast. So this has 20 issues. Honestly, that's about the size of some other epics. They probably could have pushed it to like 22, but they had it mapped perfectly. And I think there's 75 issues of the series. Again, I have a guide on Crushing Krisis for this. So I mean, I've never had the chance to read this before. There's some great, I just love ROM. I actually have maybe a couple of the issues that have X-Men in them because I just bought them for binding purposes. And there's a really good arc with Rogue and Mystique in an issue or two. I don't know if that's in this one or the next one. And I mean, I know they had already done this for Omnibus, so of course it's going to look good, but it looks really good. I mean, they clearly did the job. So I don't have the omnibuses. This is the first time I'm seeing it. Very exciting. So now I've made a barricade of stuff that's going to make it hard to get my last book because it's all the way over there. But so the last thing in these 2 orders was one more omnibus, and it is Wolverine Volume 6. Now I have this entirely in singles because I thought I was going to have to bind it. And I believe this is all in Epic Collections. This has got so much stuff in it. Wolverine 102 to 118 and -1 and half and 102.5. Wolverine Annual 96 and 97. Venom Tooth and Claw 1 through 3. Maverick #1. Logan the Shadow Society. Kitty Pryde Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. 1 through 3, which also had Wolverine. Wolverine Doombringer, which was an OGN before the Fantastic Four. Ben Grimm and Logan 1 through 3. Wolverine Days of Futures Past 1 through 3, which I'm kind of surprised they put in here, but they're really trying to be complete. Wolverine Encyclopedia 1 and 2. And then material from Marvel, Shadows and Light. So at the time, I was like, wow, they only went to issue 118. Like it really doesn't feel like that much. It's only 17 issues of actual Wolverine, or 16 issues of actual Wolverine. But this has, I think I was kind of undercounting how much extra stuff this has, which then, and this, we had to deal with this in the poll this year. It's like, okay, well, Wolverine ended at 188. So there's another 70 issues to do. And it's not like it's just a clean 35. Our job here is done, because there's all of these OGNs and miniseries and side things that if they're taking a complete approach, they're going to have to put in. So the big question is, could we actually do just 2 more omnibuses to get to the end of Wolverine? I don't think so. I think it actually might have to be 3, because I just don't know. I don't know if there's a way to fit it. So am I particularly excited to crack the plastic on this one and start reading it? No, not really, because I already have it in other formats. That's not one of my favorite eras of Wolverine. But we're committed. Until someone actually commits me, we're committed. And so that was also in the haul. Issues 1 and half, comics, and 102.5. All of which I tracked down in singles, because all of which I was going to bind, because before Epic Collections, there's a brief period in 2012 and 2013, where I had every X-Men trade that had ever been released. And then I was like, I guess I'm going to have to buy all the stuff in singles if I want to read it. Marvel Unlimited was still in its infancy. There were no Epic Collections. And so I went and bought all those singles. And they're down in the garage. Okay, so that's my haul around the world. I told you I just want to get on and do a quick video today. This is not one of my 3-hour epics. I wanted to say hi to everybody, show you that I sometimes do some stuff midweek. And there is going to be a pull list show tomorrow, because I only do about time, if I'm not totally sick. I mean, I honestly don't know if I could do a 3-hour show today. That might not work with my constitution. So health allowing. This is, I've shown it off in the past, by this New Zealand artist, Pepper Raccoon. They're so cool. They have a workshop actually close to here now, and they do so many cool pins. Go on their website, pepperraccoon.com, and they have all these cool like birds and all these illustrations. They have this shirt that I've showed off in the past, I think, that says Big Death Energy. They have a lot of like creepy cute things and like slightly macabre things, but they've also got a lot of cool gay things. And I just saw this and I just really liked it. Something about it really appealed to me, but I don't really go outside the house a whole lot. I'm like, what am I going to put it on my like school bag that I wear? And so it has just earned its little place in the background there, just to be a little pop of queer rainbow in the background. So tomorrow is going to be the pull list for June 18th. It was pretty big, 60 comics. And right now, I have 20 more books still to finish at some point today. Right now, it is within 0.01 rating of being my highest rated week of the year, which is crazy because it also has some of my least favorite books I've read all year, but there's a lot of 4s and 5s. So I'm really excited, and hopefully if I'm feeling better, I will do it tomorrow. I don't know how much longer I can keep talking. I need to go and lay down or something. It's feeling like crap. But I had to cancel so much stuff earlier today. I'm sure people that I canceled on are going to be like, what are they doing online? But it's because I physically could not get up at that hour and do this. And now I'm feeling a little bit decent, and I want to play with these books. And I promised myself I was not going to get super, super into them until they were on the shelf. So let me just, so Nomar, the hilarious thing is I only have 2 bound books because that was going to be my big project that I started doing in 2017. So I was a stay-at-home parent at the time, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm going to work on CK a lot and do my stay-at-home parenting. And then like while Kid Krisis is napping, she was just a little bub at that point, I'm going to like start putting all these books together to bind them. So I had this huge project, and every time she would take a nap, I would like go and I would like figure out the reading order, and I would like get them all bound up and like rubber banded, and I would like write like on the front, like the order they were supposed to be in. And I was going to get them all done at this printer, which I don't even think exists anymore, Herring and Robertson. So I was just like, I just had long boxes and long boxes that I had all lined up like a bunch of semi tractor trailers, like waiting to be weighed to get on or off a highway. And that was my plan. That was my big plan. Then I found out I was moving to New Zealand, and the turnaround time for books like that, I think at the time was like 10 weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could just send them all right now, but they're not going to be done in time to get on the moving truck to go to New Zealand. I don't want to have those things all shipped to New Zealand. I don't even know what my address is going to be in New Zealand yet, and the shipping would be like outrageous. So I was like, well, I hope there's going to be a binder in New Zealand. But actually, it turned out well for me that I didn't, because so many of those things are things that wound up getting collected in Epic collections. Like at that time, I don't even know if there was an Excalibur Epic collection at that time. So like, I was going to bind everything X-Men that didn't already have an oversized book or trade. Now we have Epics, and we have even omnibuses to cover all of those things. But and I have all of Wonder Woman too, as I've established. But I do have some indie stuff I'd still like to bind. I have all of that stuff I talked about during the Youngblood sequence. I would still like to do that. And there are people that do book binding here, but they're not like big shops. They're kind of just like individual people that are binding, which is cool. But it's really expensive. So I'd probably be paying something like $60 or $80 a book. And at that point, I'm like, I can just read my floppies for $80 a book. In the States, I think I was able to get it. If I did a big bulk order, I think it was going to be as low as like maybe $30 a book or $40 a book. So I was like, oh, well, that's not that bad, right? Like, I'm sure I'm going to eventually have, I think I had a list of like 150 books, so it was going to be $6,000. But like over the course of a few years, and I was going to send them in batches, and then it was going to be this perfect uniform shelf. But you know, life has other plans sometimes. Life has other plans. Okay, just trying to see if anybody else has some things to say. Any Xenoscope books tomorrow? Yes, there's a Grimm Fairy Tales as we approach what seems like is the end of Grimm Fairy Tales, and there's also I think their spring season special. No Doctor Strange of Asgard. There's this really cool indie book I liked, Benjamin. There's an issue of Doom's Division. There was an issue of Amazing Spider-Man, but you're all going to find out tomorrow. Okay, let's see. Thoughts on the upcoming Age of Revelation for X-Men? You will not be hearing very much about that from me on this channel because I always skip alternate reality events. It's not just I'm salty about From the Ashes. I didn't read the recent Heroes Reborn at all. I never read it. I just skipped it and continued when I came back. I didn't read Age of X-Men at the time it was happening, and then once they announced Krakoa, I kind of binged it all. And I read Sins of Sinister like a whole year after it came out. I usually wait to see if there seems like there's going to be any reason it mattered at all. And then I decide how much of it's going to read. And for this to come out with 16 books and it's 10 years in the future, and I hate the X-Men line as much as I do right now. There's a couple ones that look cool. I saw there's a Quentin Quire one they just revealed today. I mean, the Laura Kinney one tempts me. There's one with Hickman and Duggan co-writing Longshot. So I am going to be tempted on a few of them, but I don't know. Nomar got so jealous. All of your new universe set bound 10 volumes. Nomar, that is brilliant. Have you been buying the omnibuses too as they come out? Or you're like, I'm good, I got them bound, I'm golden. That's why I want to get all of Malibu. I'm tempted every day. I'm tempted to go on eBay. Like if I won the lottery, one of the first things I would do, first I would like make sure none of my good friends were like in any kind of financial trouble. And the next thing I would do is I would get every single Malibu comic shipped to New Zealand. And then I would find some person in their garage with a bookbinding thing and get them to do some binding. Okay, and Warren's hoping something. I'm so tickled that Warren is actually reading my stream. Saying, hope that something comes out. Oh, Next Imaginant is here. I just saw that. Hank loved reading ROM. First time reading it for me. Didn't get the Omnibus because I was hoping for the Epic. Same. At this point now, I just hold out for Epics because I'm like, it's going to happen. Next Imaginant saying, Omar just confirmed in his newest announcements video that Fight Bolts issues will be in the Dark Range. Wow. I didn't see that video yet. Hopefully it's not embargoed. Hopefully we're not telling tales out of school. But wow, that is super, 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 super surprising for me. Bunk saying, Benjamin got pulled from me by my LCS by the guy who runs it named Ben. Apparently the name recognition was enough for him to love it. It's really good. I think you're going to really like it. It's really, really fun. Legion's on my list. Okay, so it sounds like I should probably do, but we've got to catch up first. So I have to still do June 18th, June 25th, July 2nd, July 9th, July 16th, which was this week. So I wouldn't have to do that until Sunday, but clearly I'm not going to do 4 by Sunday. But I have a schedule. It's all in my scheduling software, so I'm working on it, and there's a lot to read. But then I get to start doing some fun things. I'm going to finally get to be on Comics Pals when I'm all caught up. I'm finally going to get to have One Wheelchair X on my channel to talk about some X-Men nonsense. And I think I'm going to do this most wanted to read runs and some other stuff too. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here. If you caught this random stream, it means your notifications were on. Good job. If you are watching it on replay, thanks so much for watching it. And these just pop up irregularly every month or two. I don't want to just do one when I get a DCBS box because like that just happens every 5 weeks anyway. So I try to wait until something else weird gets here. Some makeup, a tackle box, my beautiful fishing lure that I'm gonna let's unbox. No, it's zip tied closed. I can't even open it. Wait, hold on. I have scissors. We have the technology. We're gonna end here with a very, very cool fishing lure unwrapping. If there's a channel, ouch, it's really sharp and stabbed in my finger. Oh god, oh god. Okay. Okay, but is that for the fish? Okay, so it goes on your line here, and then the fish, we got it. There's like this little rubber condom thing on it, and ouch, oh my god, we've got to get, no. I'm going to continue to stab myself. I was thinking it would hang on something like this, but no. It's like holographic. I have ooh, look at that. Woo! So, and yes. Oh my god, I stabbed myself again. Okay, fish are in trouble. But would it be too heavy as an earring? I bet I can just, oh, hold on. I bet the hook can just hang on my ear. Ready? Okay, that's not going to happen. Anyway, can you tell that I'm not feeling well? Am I ever quite this crazy? I don't know. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks you for being a friend. Be nice to yourself and everyone else out in the world. Live just for 24 more hours, and I will see you again. So your job is for the next 24 hours. Don't have a crisis, because it's not going to be me. And then 24 hours from now, have a crisis, because it's going to be me. So turn on your notifications, because we're doing a pull list catch up tomorrow. Until then, peace out.